Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Innovators Growth Podcast. I'm Abby.
And I'm Megan. On today's episode, we'll be featuring Faith Spencer, a Purdue Polytech student with a thirst for innovation. Faith, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, anytime.
All right, so why don't we start off by having you kind of describe your journey as an innovator? So, what are some of your notable experiences and your key highlights with innovation?
Well, I've always had this hustling spirit ever since I was little. It kind of runs in the family. So from selling candy and stuff like that to just being able to help other people fundraise and do things like that. I just really enjoy, being a part of that entrepreneurial spirit and coming up with new ways to make money and things like that. So it's just kind of always been with me.
Do you think being exposed to it as young as you were definitely motivated you to, have such a strong drive? And why do you think it impacted you so much?
That's a good question, actually. I believe it impacted me a lot the way it did. Just because, like you said, I grew up around it, watching my parents, the way that they are hardworking and always going after what it is that they want. It just kind of grew on me as well, along with that energy and just wanting to strive for whatever it is that I want. So it's always been around me.
That's awesome. I think that's a common theme within a lot of innovators is that they get introduced to it unknowingly. And then once
Yeah,
you realize that you're an innovator and you have the potential to innovate, you just keep going with that.
literally, that's how it goes.
Right, right. So would you think that what would you recommend to younger students to get involved with innovation at a younger age? Or do you think that it's more important to kind of let it come naturally and then get involved when you're older and more matured?
Honestly, I feel being introduced as a kid, it's not something you realize that it's happening. It just naturally happens, if that makes sense. So, maybe sending kids to programs that kind of drives that momentum, or camps that, drives creativity. That's kind of what sparks it. And so, just being a part of those settings and environments, if you have that innovative mentality and drive of wanting to create something new that doesn't already exist, I feel like it'll just naturally take off on its own.
Yeah, I completely agree with how you worded that. So kind of taking a step back, from your perspective, what do you think that innovation had to do with your undergraduate decision and why you went to Purdue?
Well, okay. So since I was younger, I've always known technology was definitely going to be the way for me to go, because I love computers, I love cell phones. I remember when the iPhone, the first generation, came out, I just thought it was mind-boggling to me. It was the coolest thing, and I went around saying I wanted to be a software engineer, and then it was just no, that's not what I want to do because I don't really like math like that. So then it was just more so of, okay, I love technology. What can I do? How can I play a role in that? And what is it that I can do to, be a part of that world? And so when it came to Purdue, it was actually marching band that really did it for me. We attended Purdue Band Day, and I fell in love with the campus. They're number one in engineering and just STEM in general. And it was just this was the place for me to be. And the summer camps and stuff that I attended after that just played a role into that. So honestly, when you find something that you really love, you're gonna find a way to keep going and to be able to continue to eat at that. And so that's kind of what I did. I found something that I was really interested in, and I kept diving deeper and deeper until I got to where it was that I wanted to be, and it was Purdue.
That's amazing, Faith. So you're majoring in cybersecurity, right?
Yeah, I'm actually double majoring, so cybersecurity and network engineering.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. That's a great combo. So
Yeah.
there's so many routes that innovation can take and so many pathways that you can go as an innovator. What led you
Mhm.
to choose cybersecurity? And then you said, what was it?
Network engineering technology.
Yeah, how did you figure out that those were the ways you wanted to go?
So, PLTW classes from Hobart High School, of course, I knew STEM was the pathway that I wanted. But once again, like I said, the whole math component, I really wasn't feeling it. And one of our teachers actually mentioned the thought of like cybersecurity and implementing a POCW cybersecurity class. And so I kind of got intrigued by it because I was like, cybersecurity, like what is that, you know? And so I started doing research on it and realized that I can take my passion and love of like helping others and serving people and mix it for my love of technology. And cybersecurity was really the way for me to go. And network engineering kind of just tagged along in a sense, because my senior year I was introduced to it by taking an introductory networking course, and it gives me that physical component. I really like hands-on things, and the network engineering part plays a role in that physical component on the different things that I work with. So that's how I came up with it.
Yeah, so kind of talking about Hobart High School, where we all went and all kind of started our innovation journey together. What kind of advice would you give a high schooler student who knows they love to innovate and has this mindset but aren't really sure where to start? What kind of advice would you give them?
You really just have to do your research. One, find things that you are really interested in. That's kind of how I ran into the camps at Purdue. It was like, okay, well, I know I want to go to this school, but how do I know what I want to major in? How do I know what it is that I'm really interested in? And doing research on Purdue's website, I ran into the summer camps, and I said, you know what, we're just going to take one camp summer by summer and until we find what it is that we're interested in. And that's really what I did. Obviously, fees and stuff like that came along the way. And so, well, I just apply for scholarships so my parents wouldn't have to pay for me to attend those camps. I kind of like made my own way. So once again, it really just goes back to the drive and motivation and, you know, your will to be determined to discover what it is that you really love and just go after it.
And something about your personality, you're very bubbly, you're very excited, and you're somebody who showcases what it means to have a drive and have motivation. So you know, listening to your story definitely helps me stay motivated as well.
For sure, for sure. And on top of that, like, you know, don't get me wrong, everyone has their down moments, and I definitely have mine too. But it's just all about knowing that, well, things may not be going as planned in that moment, but you have to realize that eventually you're going to get out of that storm. And when you're out of that storm, you got to be ready to get right back up and attack your goals. And that's kind of something that I just live by.
So now that you're going into your junior year of college, right?
Yep.
Have you ever found yourself experiencing moments of low motivation, and how do you keep your drive? Because I'm sure there's a lot of challenges along the way, but you seem very motivated. How do you recommend staying motivated?
It's about the people that you surround yourself around, honestly. A highlight of my low moments would definitely be this past fall semester. So fall semester 2020, obviously, you know, we're still in the pandemic, but that was kind of like the main part of the pandemic, coming back to school and just experiencing a lot of different things happening and still having to, you know, attend classes while being under COVID protocols and still being able to find a way to speak to professors so that you can make sure that you're learning the materials. It was really challenging. I won't lie to you. There was a lot of times that I was just like, I actually second guessed my majors. I spoke with a career counselor saying like, I don't think this is for me. Like, it's just nothing's working, and life was just awful, you know? But at the same time, like I said, surrounding yourself by people that you know that care, such as like my roommate, my family, my parents, and you know, just, you know, saying, hey, like, yeah, it's a struggle right now, but you're gonna get through it. And then, you know, obviously my religion also plays a role into that as well. Just, you know, being able to have that to lean on too was really nice. So it takes a lot to stay motivated, but my key thing would definitely be the people that I surrounded myself around is what kept me going.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, it was our freshman year of college for me and Megan, and going into college, a totally new atmosphere. I feel like finding that community that really inspires you is so important and integral to keep a drive. So now that you said you had struggles and you finally get to summer, you think that you would take a break, but you're actually spending your summer interning. Just describe to me, how has that been for you?
It's been a great experience, honestly. It's really funny because way back when, so September of last year, when I was looking for places, Who I'm interning for right now was not on the first of my list. The only reason why I even went and talked to them virtually was because of WIT, which is the Women in Technology. It's an organization that I'm a part of within Purdue Polytechnic. They sent out a group me message saying, hey, MISO, which stands for Mid-Continent Independent System Operator. It was like, hey, MISO, they're, hiring people, hiring interns. Go check them out, just, talk to them, whatever. And so that's what I did. And, obviously one thing led to another. And it was just something for me. I was like, I'm not really interested, but I'll keep going. And then all of a sudden I have an internship. And so, I accepted, yeah, but I was still reluctant about it. But as I kept going and going and, them messaging me, telling me how excited they are to have me, things just started to kind of like change for the best. And I really excited, and the team that I'm working for now, I'm really excited to be with them. They're excited to have me. Just the overall company, and just, being willing to able to ask questions when needed, and their responsive and openness to answering those questions. I mean, it's really nice. I really enjoy it. I'm learning a lot, and being able to just, go on and book a meeting with an executive and they accept, like, that's just awesome to me. The fact that they're so open, I think it's really great, and I'm really having a great time.
It sounds like an amazing experience, and you can tell that you're so excited to talk about it and, be a part of everything. So I know you talked about how you used to go to summer camp and find all these ways to where your parents didn't have to pay for it. So what kind of made you join an internship or look for an internship?
Well, one, it's kind of like important for me so that I can graduate, but that wasn't the main reason. Yeah, lectures and, labs, all that's great. But for me, if I'm not doing it in a hands-on perspective, I'm not going to retain any of this information. So that was the main reason for me choosing to go out and look for an internship. And then also, once again, it's about branding yourself. Yeah, it's important to think about the present, but you also got to think about the future. And in order to do that, thinking about the future, I need experience in order to, fulfill getting that full-time job that I'm looking for. And so by, interning with MISO and whoever I may intern with in the future, that's only going to build my credibility, build my resume, and build my skills to show how knowledgeable I am about my majors and what it is that I'm really interested in to my future employers. And that was the main reason why I chose to seek an internship.
Now, would you recommend it to the younger students, and how would you, obviously it benefits you, but how would you encourage the younger viewers and listeners to get an internship?
Oh, most definitely. I am all about internships. My roommate actually scored her first internship her freshman year, and I was just like, go get them. I love to see it. Well, one, for Purdue, I only can really speak to Purdue because that's where I go. But we have all these different career fairs. Obviously now they're more virtual than in person, but our biggest one is the Industrial Roundtable. And we have over hundreds and hundreds of companies that come out and speak with us. Definitely just get out, and whether you're trying to score an internship or not, it's important to get that practice of speaking to potential employers, because then you can also ask them, hey, well, what did I do wrong? Or how did you think I presented myself? Or what is it that I can do better for next time? How can I prepare myself to talk to you so when I am ready for an internship, I'm ready to go and I know I'm going to get it. So just being able to go out and do that, I think that's really important. And I literally stress internships, especially if you can get one, go for it. Because one, you're going to make some money. And then two, you're gaining more experience. There's no lose in that situation, no losses whatsoever. So just go after it.
Very, very well said. Well, thank you so much, Faith, for taking the time to speak with us today. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. I really appreciate you guys for having me on.
All right, guys, this is Innovators Growth Podcast, where we inspire the next generation of young entrepreneurs.
Something I fall back to.